Get ready.
Ah, the Ferrari Testarossa. It's my daily driver. It's got great mileage, really easy on fuel, and you can tell I'm lying out of my ass because I don't drive anywhere and I'm dirt poor. But I can at least pretend that some of that was the truth when I play Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. Now the story to this game is actually quite simple. The year is 2084. The Robotrons have invaded and have finally killed the last family, which was also the largest one ever. But not satisfied with their victory, they develop a time travel device and travel back to the year 2006 to wreak havoc on all of mankind. However, you and your girlfriend have stolen their time travel device and attached it to your Ferrari Testarossa, and now it's up to you to outrun the year 2006 to warn the year 2005 of the impending Robotron invasion, thus saving all of humanity. Godspeed. Now this grim race to save humanity's future also serves as a celebration of the Outrun series. You have the entirety of Outrun 2 in this game, as well as an original mode which includes a racing style, a classic Outrun style, and heart attack mode. Now I know what you're thinking. In heart attack mode, you'd have a defibrillator hooked up to your character and attached to his Ferrari, and you must drive without dipping below 100 miles per hour, or else he has a heart attack. And as much as I wish that was kind of the truth, instead you get something of a neat little challenge mode, where your girlfriend will constantly call out challenges, some really easy, like hit all the cars, some really hard, like avoid all the cars, as well as some wacky ones, like bouncing a beach ball down the road, or avoiding getting abducted by aliens. And that's a really unique mode to this game. It's a ton of fun. Outside of that, you have the standard Outrun mode, which is the thing that made me fall in love with Outrun, and make me consider it to be the best arcade driving game ever. It is a sort of choose-your-own-adventure driving game. Essentially, you go through the courses, and at the end of each area, there's a split in the path. You choose to either take the left path, which is the easier one, or the right one, which is harder. Depending on which path you take, you get a different ending, as well as you get to see different sights. And that simple fact makes each drive through Outrun a unique experience. You also have a race mode, which generally has you race a bunch of competitors and try and come in first at the end. They block off half the exits though, so it's a very linear path. And while I don't really care for the racing mode all that much, because that's not really what Outrun is about, it was fun for a little bit, and sometimes they threw weird curveballs your way, like trying to score a bunch of points by basically remaining permanently in drift. And it was okay that you came in last so long as you had a higher score than your opponent. That was pretty cool. Or alternatively, the stay in the lead or your girlfriend dumps you mode, which that was pretty cool too. Now, staying true to its roots as an arcade game, this game does rely heavily on a point-based system. Like the classic Outrun, it's based upon how far you go, how fast you go, and how many cars you cleanly pass. Also, to justify my bad driving, you also get bonus points if you hit all of the cones. He lied. Now, unlike other games which tend to keep a score as more or less an archaic holdover from the classic arcade days, score here actually does matter. Because when you finish a race, your score helps determine what the total number of Outrun miles you've earned. Outrun miles are a type of currency in this game. You can take it to the shop and buy different cars, different colors, different routes, and each individual route has like 2 variants on it, so there's quite an insane number, as well as various soundtracks and other neat little collectibles. And if you want to play Outrun like a pro, you pick the cherry red Ferrari Testarossa and turn the radio to the classic arcade rendition of Passing Breeze, and then you're set to go. Oh, damn, I missed some cones that time. Anyway, the soundtrack is tremendous. As I said, this game is something of a celebration of the Outrun series as a whole. So you do have pretty much all of the standard Outrun songs. In fact, offhand, the only one I didn't notice was one that the Genesis version got as an exclusive. But you also get 4 different versions of Passing Breeze, so I'm not too upset about that. Which goes to my second point. You can go to the store and you can buy different variations of each song, as well as whole new songs. So if you're a little bit bored with the standard version of the song you're listening to, you could get a remix. Or if it has one, you can have the classic 80s rendition as it would have sounded on the arcade. That's very cool, and it appeals to veterans of the classic games, and it just works really well. If there's a song in Outrun that you liked, chances are it's here. Several times, actually. The sound effects are decent enough, and the voice acting is there. It's mostly your girlfriend yelling at you if you run into a wall or something. It's not great, but it does what it needs to do. The importance here is gameplay, which is solid Outrun awesomeness. Oh yeah, and that was the jet from Afterburner. Now the aesthetic of this game is fantastic. All sorts of different environments, ranging from the beach to metropolitan areas, forests to ruins, and there's so many more, just based on all the different track variations you can have, in between both Outrun 2 and Outrun Coast to Coast. There is just an insane amount of content to see here. And I think in the end, that's the most simple way to explain what Outrun Coast to Coast is. It was taking the best arcade driving game ever, putting it onto the PS2, and then just adding an insane amount of stuff. You still have the classic arcade-style gameplay. It seemed a little bit more forgiving here than it did in the arcades, but it was a ton of fun, and the only thing I really didn't care about the gameplay was simply that they added a drifting mechanic. And it's like the most controllable drift ever, but it just felt weird that it was there. They also added slipstreaming, which, at least for the racing, makes it feel like it's not rubber banded, simply because they could be slipstreaming behind you, and thus catch up naturally to you by reducing wind resistance. That's physics. But there is just so much Outrun here for you to have. It's not an incredibly expensive game, it tends to sit at about $15. I hear there's also a PSP version, which I honestly can't comment on because I don't have it, but if you like Outrun, you like arcade games, you like fun driving games, you like the PS2, get this game and start driving, because those Outrun miles don't collect themselves, and you're going to need a lot of them if you want to collect everything in this game, and then defeat the Robotrons. Well, at least until 2084 rolls around and then they kinda kill everyone again. That's still a ways away though.